Today, we are looking at 17 popular cars sold in Australia that many drivers and mechanics say can become expensive mistakes far earlier than buyers expect. From heavily marketed budget sport utility vehicles that hesitate in traffic, to premium European badges linked to major engine and transmission complaints, buying the wrong car can turn a family vehicle into a financial nightmare. Stay with me to the very end, because after we go through the biggest problem cars sitting on dealership lots and used car yards, I will reveal 3 much safer alternatives that are far better known for durability in Australian conditions. Australians have been sold an expensive lie about modern vehicles. We assume that because a car is new or because it comes with a glossy 7-year warranty, it must be reliable in our harsh local climate. We trust the shiny badges, the giant touchscreens, and the promises of incredible fuel economy. But here is the part many buyers only discover too late. The global car industry has changed the way modern cars are built. Instead of simple, durable metal components and proven automatic gearboxes, many manufacturers now rely on brittle plastic cooling parts, sealed transmissions, turbocharged small engines, and incredibly complex software. Cars that might cope in mild overseas test conditions can struggle badly once they face boiling Australian summers, rough roads, long highway runs, towing, and constant stop-start traffic. This is not just bad luck. It is a broader shift toward lower durability, higher complexity, and repair bills that the average family never sees coming. Let us pull back the curtain on the biggest offenders you should think twice about. Number 1. The MGZS. The MGZS has become one of the most common small sport utility vehicles on Australian roads. It is marketed as an affordable family car with modern styling, big screens, and a massive warranty. But many owners complain that the driving experience starts to unravel very quickly. One of the biggest complaints is hesitation from the transmission and inconsistent throttle response. When you put your foot down to enter a roundabout or merge into fast-moving traffic, the car can pause, hesitate, then suddenly lurch forward. That is not just annoying. It can be genuinely unsettling when you are trying to judge a safe gap in traffic. Owners have also reported glitches with infotainment systems, warning chimes, and driver assistance features. On paper, it looks like a premium family car for a budget price. But for many frustrated buyers, it feels more like a rushed budget product, hiding behind a long warranty. And if you think a Japanese badge automatically protects you from transmission trouble, number 2 is going to change your mind. Number 2. The Nissan X-Trail. The Nissan X-Trail has been a trusted Australian family car for years, but many versions fitted with the continuously variable transmission have developed a reputation for becoming expensive trouble once the kilometers rise. Instead of traditional gears, this transmission uses a belt and pulley system. That setup can feel smooth when everything is working properly, but it can struggle badly under heat, load, towing, and repeated stop-start driving. When these transmissions begin to fail, drivers often report shuddering, droning noises, delayed acceleration, and the smell of overheated fluid. In a hot Australian summer, especially with luggage or a trailer on board, that can become a very costly problem. When the transmission goes, it often cannot be repaired cheaply. It usually means a full replacement, and that is where families get hit with a repair bill they never expected. The sales pitch promises smooth and efficient family motoring, but many mechanics see it as a transmission that can be badly outmatched by Australian driving conditions, and what you are about to hear changes the way many buyers look at used family cars forever. Number 3. The Holden Captiva. The Holden Captiva is one of the most notorious used cars in Australia. People buy them because they offer 7 seats, a low purchase price, and a familiar badge. But there is a reason so many mechanics warn people away from them. These cars built a reputation for timing chain problems, transmission failures, cooling issues, and endless electrical faults. On some engines, the timing chain can stretch and create a harsh metallic rattle on startup. That sound is often the first warning that a very expensive repair is coming. Fixing it can mean major engine work, and once you add possible transmission or electrical problems, the cheap purchase price stops looking cheap very quickly. The advertisement says spacious family transport for a bargain price. But the real ownership story is often repeat workshop visits and repair bills that never seem to end. And if you thought European engineering was automatically superior, number 4 gets very uncomfortable. Number 4, the Volkswagen Golf. The Volkswagen Golf is one of the most respected hatchbacks in Australia. It feels solid, refined, and far more premium than most rivals. But many buyers get caught out by versions fitted with the dry clutch, dual clutch automatic transmission. This transmission can be smooth on the move, but in slow, stop-start traffic, it has a long history of harsh operation, shuddering, clunking, and expensive failures. Australian city driving is exactly the kind of environment that can expose those weaknesses. Drivers often describe jerky, low-speed movement, sudden clunks, and a burnt clutch smell when the system starts to deteriorate. And if the clutch packs or the electronic control unit fail, the repair bill can be massive. The badge suggests German precision, but for many owners, the daily reality becomes stress every time traffic slows to a crawl, and things get even more uncomfortable when we move into large luxury sport utility vehicles. Number 5, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Australians love the Jeep Grand Cherokee because it looks tough, premium, and capable. It promises luxury, off-road ability, and strong road presence. But it has also built a reputation for suspension faults, electrical gremlins, and very high repair costs. One of the biggest complaints surrounds the air suspension system on certain variants. Owners have reported cars sitting low or uneven overnight, suspension warnings on the dash, and expensive compressor or air strut failures. That might sound minor until you see the repair bill. These systems are costly to diagnose and costly to fix, and they can make an expensive vehicle feel very fragile. The advertising suggests rugged luxury, but many owners discovered a highly complex vehicle that can become painfully expensive once the warranty protection disappears. And if you think a small car is automatically safer, number 6 proves that is not always true. Number 6, the Ford Focus. We are looking at the Ford Focus models fitted with the PowerShift automatic transmission. This is one of the most infamous transmission stories in the Australian car market. The idea was simple: deliver fuel economy like a manual with the convenience of an automatic. The reality for many owners was hesitation, shuddering, grinding, clutch slip, sudden loss of drive, and endless dealership visits. The most alarming part is what happens when you need the car to move quickly. You press the accelerator at an intersection, the engine revs, but the car barely responds. That hesitation can feel dangerous when traffic is approaching. This transmission caused so many complaints that it became a major consumer scandal. The marketing promised advanced technology, but the ownership experience left many drivers feeling like they were trapped in a product that never worked properly from the beginning. And what you're about to hear changes the way many Australians look at cheap utes. Number 7, the LDVT60. The LDVT60 entered the market with a simple promise: give Australian tradies and families a big ute for far less money than the major brands. That is exactly why so many buyers took the risk. But many early examples built a bad reputation for diesel particulate filter issues, limp mode problems, sensor faults, and inconsistent reliability. The diesel particulate filter is supposed to trap soot and burn it off during normal driving. But if the system does not regenerate properly, or if the sensors act up, the vehicle can lose power and throw warning lights. That is the last thing you want in a work vehicle. When a ute goes into limp mode on the way to a job, it stops being a bargain immediately. The brochure promises a hard-working, value-packed ute, but many owners found themselves stuck with a vehicle that spent far too much time back at the dealer. And if you thought staying with Holden fixed the problem, number 8 is another classic mistake. Number 8, the Holden Cruze. The Holden Cruze was sold as a smart, efficient, locally familiar small car for young Australians and families. But it quickly built a reputation for cooling system failures and other serious reliability problems. One of the biggest complaints involves plastic thermostat housings, water pumps, and cooling components that can fail under heat. When those parts crack or leak, coolant escapes, the temperature rises, and the engine can overheat very quickly. If the driver does not stop in time, the damage can become catastrophic. That means head gasket failure, warped components, or total engine failure. The badge suggests a practical first car, but the mechanical reality can be a fragile cooling system that struggles badly in Australian heat. And if you thought spending more on a luxury badge protected you, number 9 shows how badly that can go wrong. Number 9, the Range Rover Evoque. The Range Rover Evoque is stylish, prestigious, and still highly desirable in Australian suburbs. It looks like a luxury success story, but many examples have been linked to serious engine, turbocharger, timing chain, and electrical issues. Owners and mechanics often warn that these cars can become very expensive long before buyers expect. Heat build-up in a tightly packaged engine bay does not help. Turbochargers, oil lines, cooling systems, and electronics all live in a very stressed environment. When something goes wrong, it is rarely cheap. The prestige badge suggests effortless luxury, but the repair bills can make that premium image disappear very quickly. And the next brand proves that loading a car with technology does not automatically make it better. Number 10, the Haval H6. The Haval H6 has grown quickly in Australia because it looks futuristic and offers huge amounts of technology for the money. Big digital displays, modern styling, and a lot of features make it look incredibly competitive. But many owners have complained about software glitches, warning messages, inconsistent electronic behavior, and a driving experience that can feel unfinished. That matters because modern cars do not just use screens for entertainment. They also control climate settings, safety features, cameras, alerts, and vital vehicle information. When software is unstable, the whole car can feel unstable. A car is not a phone. You cannot just restart it and pretend nothing happened while driving at highway speed. The showroom pitch is ultra-modern value. But the ownership concern is that too much of the experience depends on electronics that do not always feel polished. And if you think a bigger family Nissan is safer, number 11 is waiting. Number 11, the Nissan Pathfinder. When Nissan turned the Pathfinder into a large family crossover and paired it with a continuously variable transmission, many buyers ended up with a combination that worried mechanics. This is a heavy vehicle. Fill it with family, luggage, and holiday gear, and you are asking a lot from that transmission. Add towing, heat, or a long road trip, and the strain increases even more. Drivers report sluggish performance, droning sounds, shuddering, and the feeling that the transmission is working far too hard just to move the vehicle. That is not the kind of feeling you want on a family holiday. The badge promises a big adventure vehicle, but the engineering combination has left many owners with a transmission that can feel badly matched to the size and weight of the car. And the problems with the next model can be even more abrupt. Number 12, the Jeep Compass. The Jeep Compass looks like a compact version of the rugged Jeep image Australians know well. It has the styling, the badge, and the promise of safe modern motoring. But many owners have reported electrical faults, warning lights, module failures, and sudden stalling issues. That is where things get serious. If a car loses power steering assistance, throws warning lights, or stalls in traffic, it stops being an inconvenience and starts becoming a safety concern. These are the kinds of faults that destroy driver confidence. You do not want to wonder whether your car will stay running as you cross an intersection. The showroom pitch suggests youthful adventure. But many owners describe a car that creates constant anxiety instead of peace of mind. And if you think a German luxury sport utility vehicle is immune to basic engine problems, number 13 is an absolute scandal. Number 13, the Audi Q5. Specifically, many buyers warn about versions fitted with the 2-liter turbocharged petrol engine from certain years. The Audi Q5 looks prestigious, refined, and expensive, but this engine developed a reputation for excessive oil consumption in some examples. That means owners found themselves checking and topping up engine oil far more often than they expected in a premium vehicle. If that is ignored, the consequences can be severe. Low oil means low lubrication, and low lubrication can destroy an engine from the inside. There is nothing glamorous about constantly carrying spare oil in the back of a luxury car. The badge suggests success and quality. But the reality for some owners was treating an expensive sport utility vehicle like a car with a chronic engine problem they could never fully trust. And what you are about to hear about the next car changes the way many people think about shared engineering. Number 14. The Skoda Octavia. The Skoda Octavia is often praised as the clever alternative to more obvious European choices. It offers space, refinement, and value, but because it shares important mechanical components with certain Volkswagen models, it can also share the same transmission headaches. That means dual-clutch gearbox issues can still appear, especially in the wrong variant. Harsh shifting, strange behavior at low speed, warning messages, and expensive control unit failures are all part of the risk. The clever image of the brand makes buyers think they are beating the system. But if the shared mechanical weaknesses show up, the repair bill does not care which badge is on the grille. And if you thought a French sport utility vehicle would be the stylish, safe alternative, number 15 is another trap. Number 15. The Renault Koleos. The Renault Koleos looks comfortable, classy, and different from the usual Japanese and Korean choices, but beneath the styling, it shares key foundations with the Nissan X-Trail. That means it can inherit some of the same transmission concerns. Then you add French electronics, sensors, warning systems, and more complexity, and ownership can start to feel very frustrating. Owners often complain about random alerts, sensor issues, and annoying electronic faults that chip away at confidence. It might feel refined in the showroom, but once the glitches begin, the long-term ownership story can turn ugly very fast. And the next brand proves that even expensive work utes are not immune to catastrophic design problems. Number 16. The Volkswagen Amarok. Specifically, many mechanics warn about the 4-cylinder bi-turbo diesel models from certain years. The Amarok is praised for comfort, performance, and a far more polished on-road feel than many rival utes. But some examples have been linked to exhaust gas recirculation, cooler problems, and costly engine failures. If the cooling system fails in the wrong way, coolant can enter places it absolutely should not. That can damage emission systems, create heavy smoke, and in the worst case contribute to catastrophic engine failure. The outside styling says premium workhorse, but a major cooling or engine issue can turn that premium purchase into a financial disaster. And finally, the family sport utility vehicle with one of the most deeply concerning engine issues in this whole list. Number 17, the Ford Escape. We are focusing on many of the 1.5-liter turbo petrol versions. The Ford Escape drives well, feels modern, and on the surface looks like a strong family choice. But a major concern has surrounded coolant intrusion in some engines. That means coolant can enter the combustion chamber because of a serious design flaw. When that happens, The engine can misfire violently, run roughly, and eventually fail completely. And unlike a simple sensor or hose problem, this is often not a cheap repair. It can mean full engine replacement. The badge promises everyday family practicality, but the underlying engine issue can leave owners facing a bill so large it effectively writes the car off. Do you see the recurring pattern here? The car industry is asking Australian families to accept more complexity, more heat sensitivity, more fragile transmissions, more electronics, and more plastic parts than ever before. They are replacing proven automatic gearboxes with fragile, continuously variable transmissions and complicated dual-clutch systems. They are building heavy vehicles with small turbo engines and cooling systems that have very little margin for harsh conditions. They are hiding mechanical flaws behind giant screens, long warranty promises, and clever marketing language. And too often, when the failure finally appears, the owner is the one left fighting the dealership and paying the bill. They want you to view modern cars like disposable appliances. Use it for a few years, replace it, and start the cycle again. That is a broken system, and it is costing everyday Australians a fortune. But you do not have to accept it. Now let us talk about the three options that are far more worth your time and money. Option 1, the Mazda CX-5. While many brands rushed toward tiny turbo engines and fragile transmissions, Mazda stayed far more conservative. The naturally aspirated engines and traditional 6-speed automatic transmission give this car a much stronger reputation for long-term reliability. You still get a premium-feeling interior and solid road manners, but without the same level of mechanical drama. It is one of the smartest medium sport utility vehicle purchases in Australia for buyers who want lower risk. Option 2, the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. Yes, hybrid systems are complex, but Toyota has spent decades refining this exact system. That matters. Their hybrid reputation is not based on hype. It is based on years of real-world durability. The system also removes some traditional failure points, such as a starter motor and alternator. For buyers who want strong fuel economy without a reputation for constant major failures, this remains one of the safest choices on the market. Option 3, the Isuzu D-Max or MUX. If you need a diesel family vehicle or work vehicle, Isuzu remains one of the strongest names for toughness. The 3-liter turbo diesel engine is heavily linked to commercial vehicle engineering, and that shows in its reputation. It is not glamorous, but it is known for being durable, under-stressed, and far better suited to harsh Australian conditions than many high-strung alternatives. Australian car culture has drifted a long way from common sense. We used to value simple, proven mechanical durability. Now, too many buyers take on huge finance repayments for vehicles packed with fragile plastics, overly complex software, and transmissions that can barely cope with daily driving. You do not have to be a victim of planned obsolescence. You do not have to accept a huge repair bill as normal car ownership. Start reading long-term owner reports. Ask what type of transmission the vehicle uses. Ask whether the engine is known for oil consumption, coolant intrusion, or timing chain problems. And stop rewarding manufacturers who use Australian families as real-world testers for weak components. If this video opened your eyes to the biggest traps hiding on dealer lots, tap the like button so more Aussie drivers can protect themselves before signing a contract. If you want to stay one step ahead of the car industry and protect your family budget, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we are just getting started. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 17 cars shocked you the most today? Have you ever been stranded by a failing transmission or had a massive fight with a dealership over a warranty claim? Let me know what you would never park in your driveway again.